bursting in the air and of the free and the home of the brave.
And everyone watching the B-2 bomber fly overhead here at Kansas Speedway. One of those positions in the round of 8. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Ryan Newman making up row 8. There's young William Byron from Charlotte, North Carolina, his rookie season here in the Monster Energy Cup Series. And let's dial up Chase Elliott on the radio, see if we can chat with him as he's.
But we talked on NASCAR America, Jeff, you and I didn't think that 3 could make it. We've seen
Big
so
smoke out
much
of William
trouble.
Byron.
Oh, that looks like an engine failure right there for the 24. If it is, that'd be the second for that company.
Coming to you on pit road here, smoking big.
Oh, man. That's not what you want to see if you're
Chase
another car.
Elliott.
Yeah, Chase Elliott, Kyle
right
Larson.
there.
Oh, yeah. There, yeah, that's a pretty good job there.
In the garage.
Sliding into the garage, you see the fluid coming out from underneath and behind that car, so they will do some work on the racetrack to have to clean that up. But an engine expiring for William Byron.
Yeah, we saw the same thing with the one car in practice. Dumped a ton of fluid out of the race car. Same, it looks like a similar issue with how much fluid's out of that race car. Bubba Wallace had some damage to the left rear quarter panel.
The cause of all that, William Byron back here in the garage area. I did check with the team. Obviously, it is an engine failure. It is not an experimental engine that Hendrick Motorsports is running. You see all the oil down there. It is the same package in the 9 and 88 cars as well. So, obviously, a little concern for Chase Elliott, Alex Bowman, and everybody here at Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah, it's interesting to me because I would assume that they may try something in this 24 car and maybe even the one car, McMurray, that had trouble earlier this weekend.
4 races, and then he chose to go to a senior school event and miss the next race. Well, his dad didn't appreciate that very much because while he was on that senior event, his dad sold his race car. So Kevin Harvick knows that racing is very important to him, and he also knows.
Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway. Here we have pit stops underway. Denny Hamlin is your leader right now. He was frustrated how much the track was building up rubber and causing him to get tight. It's going to be 4 Goodyear tires and air pressure adjustment and Sunoco fuel for Denny Hamlin. Trying to play playoff spoiler, Dave.
At the line, Joey Logano got an extra stage point over Kyle Busch there. They'll make an air pressure adjustment for a car that was handling a little ill and a little bit hot. As for Kyle Busch, he said, did he beat me? Man, not handling well right now is Kyle Busch. He'll get 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel. Still has that #1 pit stall as the crew finishes up. Will he gain that position back on Logano? He won't.
Logano and the 11 of Denny Hamlin were able to beat the 18 off of pit road. The 24, though, going the wrong direction on pit road. We talked about how tight that is.
Yeah, these pit boxes, they're only 28 feet long, 14 feet wide, very narrow. The 14 leaves. That's heavy damage to the right front of the 14, although the fender looks pretty good. Concern it might have damaged some suspension parts. We'll have to just wait and see.
And Steve, whose call is that, by the way, as far as when the 14 comes out of his stall? Does the crew chief tell him?
Yeah,
there's a
normally
car
the
coming?
crew chief has to give you a couple pit stalls away, but I was surprised. He was a long ways out of his stall. I don't think he had any idea the 24 was pitting.
I'm sure. Well, look at this. You're not supposed to leave pit road with equipment, especially a jack. And that's what Timmy Hill had just done.
Used up about all he's got on his rear tires. He's sort of in protect mode right now. He may have to give up. Oh, we got a car on the wall. 24, William Byron in turn 3 and 4 has spun around.
Into the wall, right in the middle of turns 3 and 4. The caution will come out.
The battle moves from the racetrack to pit road.
And
If you get it fired up, go backward.
the weather is coming. That's the other issue that's coming up.
Will somebody stay out, Steve? Would a guy like Newman, Ty Dillon, Allmendinger, would they stay out, not pit, and then hope it rains?
I just think with 97 laps on their tires, if you even had one corner, one restart, I think you'd be wrecked. And while the weather is closing in, you know, it's still a few miles out. I think you have to plan on going back under green flag conditions. Let's take a look at what happened to William Byron there in the 24.
Yeah, it's hard to tell from this angle what started it, but whether he got any help earlier on corner entry or whether he wheel hopped the rear, we don't have another look. So
We've said it over and over how important it is to get a win, to get into the championship four. Listen to what Logano thinks about this as he leads here at Martinsville.
There's so many things that can happen at Martinsville. You've seen late race cautions, and we've seen everything that happened last year there with cars trying to get into the championship four. So when everyone is that close to each other and they see their championship right in front of them in the first round of the top 8 there, people are willing to make some big moves. I think they realize how big of a deal it is to win that race and have 2 weeks to prepare for nothing but Miami.
You referenced last year when the 11 of Denny Hamlin got into the 24 at the time of Chase Elliott and wrecked him while he was running up front. Timmy Hill in the 66, you see the flames rolling from underneath that car.
108 laps to go here at Martinsville. Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr. on the front row. Joey's had great restarts all day long.
The Ally Financial Group mentioned that they will be the sponsor for the 48 team over the next 2 years, 2019, 2020. Knowing that Lowe's was going away, the split between Jimmy and Chad Knaus, and now great news for this organization and that team.
Well, great news for the organization that they found a sponsor to sponsor the entire year. But Dale Jr. Burton, how wonderful is it for the sport of NASCAR that it's a new sponsor? Ally coming into the sport. This is not taking away from another race team. This is a company that sees the value in NASCAR racing and wants to be teamed up with a 7-time champ.
I think it's great we got a new company coming in, but you mentioned it. A company that's going to sponsor this car every single race. You got that brand identity consistently throughout the whole season. Cars are iconic in this sport. The black number 3, the rainbow 24. We're going to see Jimmy Johnson in the same car every single week.
Please remain standing and remove your hats as the Euless Police Department presents our nation's colors.
Well, Texas native Stone Cold Steve Austin gets us ready for today's race because he knows about big events.
Let me tell you, if there's one thing I've learned about how the world works, it's this. If you want to be great at something, if you want to dominate something, if you want to be remembered for all time, for being the very best at what you do, you can't be afraid to go places where you're gonna feel the heat. You gotta go to places where they expect you to bring it. Places where they want you to fight for it. Places where they push you, they test you, and make you feel how big you gotta go to have it all.
How about this, Martin Truex Jr.? You are the champion, baby! Woo!
Well then, it's about time these race car drivers all got down here to my neck of the woods. And they better know everything is bigger in Texas.
Texas W!
If I was behind the wheel, man, I'd love this time of year. Any Texan would. The spotlight's bigger, the stakes are bigger, the pressure's bigger. The championship's calling them, right?
A drag race, they're sideways, and it's going to be Logano getting the win.
Miami, baby! Yes!
Everything they've raced for, everything they've worked for, it's all coming down to these last few weeks. I love that about this sport. I love that there's no way around the job they gotta do.
They won the battle, but he ain't win the damn war. I'm just not gonna let him win it. I'm gonna win it.
So welcome to No Limits, Texas. Everything's bigger now. And don't just take my word for it. Why don't you go ahead and have a look for yourself?
That engine change. The 10 of Eric Almirola also did. He's behind him a little bit. But let's go on board with the 78 right here. Let's talk about how you move through traffic here at Texas. It's very one groove, very difficult to pass, so he's going to take the easy way. Let the car in front of him make a hole, lift real early. Look how early he's out of the gas to make sure it gets to the white line. Tries to fill that hole underneath the 11 car. He'll try to continue through Dale heading down the backstretch.
Yeah, the 24 is making the holes for him. Kind of like a fullback making a hole for the halfback. They're working their way through the field. That makes it easy for Truex.
You know, another dominant duo, probably the one paving the way, at least for the last decade. Chad Knaus and Jimmie Johnson announced earlier this year this two would be splitting up at the end of this season, which was quite remarkable to hear. I think we all knew it was coming at some point, didn't know what it was going to be. But how about this? 600 starts together. That's amazing that a crew chief and a driver, even as good as you and I got along, 600 starts is a long time to think of the ups and downs of the Cup Series.
Yeah, but the fact that they're splitting up doesn't mean that neither one of them is going to not be in the garage next year. I was really surprised by that. I think that Chad Knaus is going to continue to be a crew chief. Jimmy's going to continue racing.
180 miles an hour through the middle of that turn.
That's just crazy.
And the caution has come out. The 24.
Come in. That's the last one. Come on.
A couple cars around
Jimmy
down there.
probably got into him a little bit here. I can't see the right.
William Byron see a little bit of damage on the left front. And William Byron, we had mentioned earlier about the separation of Jimmie Johnson and Chad Knaus. Well, the crew chief for William Byron in 2019 will be Chad Knaus. And it was the 48s that was involved.
Down into turn 3. Really early. Look, Jimmy's already spinning out right there. I mean, this is just not like the way these cars are supposed to drive. I mean, these drivers don't deal with these kind of conditions anywhere else at any other racetrack where they're spinning out before they ever get to the corner. Look at the wheels, though. Look how hard he's got it turned to the left. Jimmy trying to keep it out of the fence, just cranks full left, full lock to the left to save that car from going into the fence. William Byron, just unfortunate for him to be in that position. Lucky did he get any more damage than that in that situation, but
those front tires
Jimmy
are
with those
amazing.
tires are hilarious. And then when it hooks up, you know, he has the presence of mind to steer it out of that. But what is crazy is that that car spun out really literally almost up on the straightaway.
Yeah.
Guys got their hands full.
Hey, Rick, Jimmie Johnson now running 22nd. We saw him have his hands full, get sideways with that 48 a handful of laps ago. Well, his issues really started at the beginning of the race when he was sent to the rear for failing tech. The thing is, they only failed tech twice before the race and were under the impression that did not require a start from the rear. They tried to argue their point several times, but it became a moot point once the race started. Well, then Chad actually told Jimmy not long ago that NASCAR said they did make a mistake by starting the 48 from the rear.
Kelly, I spoke to Steve O'Donnell. The 48 car was supposed to start 23rd today. You mentioned he went to the back. I understood the rule, as Chad Knaus did, that 1 and 2 failures did not force you to go to the back. When I spoke to Steve O'Donnell, he said it was purely a communication failure between the garage area and the NASCAR officials in the garage area and the officials in the booth. It was a communication. They thought it had been 3. It had only been 2. For that reason, the 48 was penalized. I'm confident this is something we're going to hear addressed after the race and something that NASCAR is going to have to clean up moving forward. Just too much on the line to have that sort of mistake. It's more complicated, Rick. You and I were having this conversation. You know, with these differing schedules, if you fail after qualifying, you lose your time. This was not the case. So either way, a misinformed penalty for the 48 as we see the 18 on pit road.
The Monster Energy Cup Series.
And William Byron, remember, he had trouble earlier, got sideways when Jimmie Johnson was having trouble on the track as well. Williams' team has recovered. And the 24 car, starting at the back today, even without car chief Todd Devnich, has made their way forward and runs in 12th.
So much going on in this race and so much shuffling because of the pit.
A moment to recognize all active military and veterans. We ask that all of our race fans who are currently serving in the military or those who have served on behalf of this great country and their families to please rise. On behalf of all of us, we thank you and are honored for your service. Let's give these brave men and women a round of applause.
Just a couple spots back, the 24 of William Byron, the young man in his rookie season in the Monster Energy Cup Series, looking very impressive on the rookie battle. The battle against the other rookies this season looks great there. I think there were a lot of high expectations coming into this season as to better performance out of William Byron.
I think there were expectations, but I think everyone would agree, even the group inside the Hendrick Motorsports, that William was moved up really probably too quick for his driving career, but it made sense on the business side. And then something just didn't seem to be gelling with his crew chief. I think him and Darian Grubb get along very well, but it's been well documented starting in 2019. He'll have the crew chief of his teammate, Jimmy Johnson. Chad Knaus, Jimmy Johnson splitting up. Currently a winless season for the 48. We talked about Denny Hamlin. Well, Jimmy Johnson has never gone a year without winning a race. And look, Parker, I mean, the 48 car is running 17th. I just can't remember a year where the 48 was just not involved in so many races.
I agree with you, Steve. And you know, Dale Jr., I want to bring you in on this because I spoke to William Byron about what you said in practice when you were asked about his season, his rookie season. You said it was below average. I asked him, do you agree? And he said, yes, I actually do agree. This has been below average for us. You know, we just did not achieve what we wanted to. We didn't keep up with the 88 or the 48. And he said, you know, if he had done that this season, he would consider it successful. But winning in the rookie year is a nice little cherry on the season. He didn't feel like he had done as well as he could.
Yeah, I mean, every driver comes in with, oh, we got a car in the fence, 14 car.
Clint Boyer into the wall. Country music fans, Tuesday nights, you can't miss the new music competition show that's all about country. Shania Twain, Travis Tritt, and Jake Owen are searching for America's next country music superstars. Real Country, that premieres Tuesday at 10, 9 Central on USA Network. And actually, Jake Owen might be looking for talent right here because he's at the racetrack today. Rut.
Rick, here on this beautiful Veterans Day weekend, we have a real treat. Over here with William Byron in his pit box is Zach West. He's in the United States Air Force, stationed in Germany, 23 years old. He's from Phoenix. He's been gone for a year, home on leave. His mom entered a sweepstakes. That's how he was able to be here with her. You can see her in the shot, and his brother, too. But a really special thing for them to be here on this very special weekend, guys, from Phoenix. And he met William Byron this morning at the driver's meeting, and you can tell with his Bill Murray shirt, this guy likes to have fun. Really cool that he's here, guys.
William Byron actually a little bit younger than he is. If he's 23, William Byron only 20. So a couple of young guys there, but so appreciative of the veterans that are here in attendance today and, of course, all around the world.
Great run for William Byron back there in 10th.
Two in the front row. The 78 of Martin Truex Jr. moves up to second. 3 wide behind him for fourth. Little contact made.
Ryan Newman on the inside of William Byron getting a little bit loose there. That's going to cost Ryan Newman some speed.
But these guys really, from fourth on back, just kind of packing together. Look how close that battle's getting, guys.
Yeah, I find it interesting. I think if William Byron can put some pressure on Martin Truex Jr., Martin will get out of the way. He cannot afford to race. So right now, William needs to push that issue. Get to that left rear quarter pound. Give him a little nudge. He'll give it to you. He cannot afford to wreck.
Yeah, he's looking on the inside there. He's definitely got the faster car.
About William Byron, has not won a race, but when you talk about learning and experience, this is some experience right here. Playoff battle, the pressure of the playoff cars around you, but he is holding his own in that 24 car, running in fifth. Oh,
hard
my
into
goodness.
the wall, the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Fire underneath that car.
He is 2.5, 3 car widths below the yellow line, and I think that's the difference. We talked about the moving of the start-finish line and how it's going to affect the.
By the way, I go back to a conversation Tony Gibson and I had on Friday when you said, for an old man on medication, this is too much pressure. You're one below the cut line. How you holding up?
I'm doing all right, I guess. My wife didn't send enough medicine for this, so next time, honey, send more if you don't mind. But, yeah, it's been a crazy day. You know, first time back on the box. We've had a fast Busch Light Ford all day long. The guys have done a great job. We've overcome a lot. So, yeah, we'll keep digging to the end, man. Kevin's, you know, one of the best here. So we got 2 right sides, and we figure out we got to fight. We got to run the 41. Unfortunately, we're running against a teammate. So hopefully the 9 doesn't win, and we can finish within 1 of that 41 car and go to Homestead. So we're going to dig till the checker flag falls, and hopefully we're in the mix.
Running against your old team, which I'm sure is strange for you. That was all you on that audible on the right sides only. What does Kevin need to do now, though, just to make sure that you get to Miami with a shot to win it?
Well, I think you got to keep the fenders clean from here. The restarts are going to get crazy from here on out. It's going to get wild. So you're at the mercy of guys around you, but we got the best out there. So hopefully it'll work out for us, and we'll see you in Homestead. I'll see you in Homestead no matter what, but hopefully it's for a championship.
There you go. They're all going to Miami no matter what, but they want to win a title. And he turned around and joked to Tony Stewart, who's right behind him, guys, said, man, I'm not kidding about the medicine thing. I need a lot more if you're really going to want me to do this next week.
Well, his health issues came into play this year. He was in the hospital for quite some time, and it's great to see him out here. It's great to see him joking around, but the irony is he won the Daytona 500 with Kurt Busch, and now he is crew chiefing for Kevin Harvick, who needs to beat Kurt Busch.
When you couldn't find a more experienced guy to put in that position, over 400 races on top of the box, 6 wins, been in the sport, won a championship all the way back with Alan Kawicki, a mentor of mine, spent a lot of races with Jeff Gordon as the car chief. I mean, he knows NASCAR, but I'll tell you, Rick, when people say, hey, do you miss your old job? There's nothing like making that game-time decision, and I've never had to do it under this type of playoff pressure. What Tony Gibson has had to do as a fill-in crew chief is remarkable, and he's done a heck of a job. That Ford still has a position to go race for a championship in Miami. Here we go.
How much will the tires matter? Coming back through the restart zone. Green flag back in the air. 44 laps to go to determine the championship 4.
Pretty good restart for Kurt, but I don't know if he cut the corner enough, but he's still on the outside of that 20. The 20 gets loose.
20 loose. Here comes the 18. Kyle Busch. What a restart.
Into the side of the 41. The 41 in the fence.
And now they're sideways. The 11 goes down. The 9 gets caught. The 41 involved. Championship contenders involved here. Both the championship hopes and that journey will end at this race.
You can see right there, Denny's turned to the right, chasing the back of the car up the racetrack into the 41.
I want to know what the 78 Martin Truex Jr. is thinking right about here.
Yeah, watch how hard he has to hit the brakes to avoid all this.
We were just talking about that off air a little bit. Like, what do you do as a crew chief? Like, I'm a Martin Truex Jr. I'm like, oh, I got to stop. You know, maybe it's time to get away from all this. You're good in points.
Wrecking behind you. Big wreck behind you.
Martin Truex Jr. with a championship on the line, not wanting to see this. Look at the sun.
Stay low, stay low, stay
always bad here.
Just stop. Come down. Stop. Just stop.
Once they're clear off of turn 2, it's over. If he's not up there trying to battle for the lead, it's over.
Let's think about something else. Austin Dillon hasn't had a great year since the Daytona 500 win. Things haven't gone well. He's restarting 5th. William Byron looking for his first win, restarting 6th. These guys that aren't in the playoffs, they're going to have a role in who can make it to the playoffs. Marty.
And if it's a factor or not, they keep reminding Eric Almirola on the last stop, we took 4, Harvick took 2. Just remember that. So whether it's true or not, Steve, and it actually helps him or not, Eric Almirola going into this restart with a little bit of confidence with a little bit of fresher left side tires.
Hey, listen, Kyle Larson just pitted. I thought he was going to come out like 12th or something. Came out 8th. He's sitting there with 4 tires in 8th position with 22 to go. He's going to be a role in this race as well.
Yeah, 25 lap fresher tires than everybody in front of him.
Hello race fans, welcome into Studio 3. I have the driver of the number 24 Hendrick Motorsports, William Byron, who just clinched Sunoco's Rookie of the Year. Kind of a great way to start your rookie season.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, obviously it was goal number 1 of the year, so goal number 2 is trying to win a race in the coming weeks, but it's obviously good to get that and be able to be Rookie of the Year for the 3rd year in a row, I guess.
What's been the most gratifying moment of this season?
We've led some laps at certain racetracks. You know, it comes to mind the run we had at Pocono and the road courses. We qualified pretty well in those and finished well at Watkins Glen. So it's been fun at those racetracks to kind of be a part of it.
Now, let me name some names for you. We have Logano, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, Tony Stewart, Dale Earnhardt. What does it mean to add your name to the list of Sunoco Rookie of the Year? That's a great accomplishment.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's kind of one step towards a bigger goal of winning races and championships, but it's cool to be part of that. You know, I have a very similar background to Jeff coming up in Hendrick Motorsports, so hopefully we can carry that tradition on and try to get the 24 back to victory lane.
And speaking of that 24 and carrying on that legacy, how has it been in your rookie year having Jeff by your side, kind of talk? I always see him on pit road come up and kind of give you a little pep talk before every race. What does it mean to have a legend like Jeff Gordon do that for you?
Yeah, it's pretty special. To see somebody that's retired from driving but also so involved with the team is pretty cool. I think he's shown that he's really committed to Hendrick Motorsports and the sport as a whole, and that's pretty awesome. So he's been around, and he's always the first one to kind of let me know if I did something right or wrong. So
or wrong.
I like that. So it's cool.
And speaking of another person that's kind of been able to help, you have Chase Elliott as a teammate who also got Sunoco Rookie of the Year. You guys at Hendrick are pretty close camp. You guys talk a lot. I know that you guys hang out. What has it meant to have kind of those mentors that are close to your own age but have been around a little bit longer than you have?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, Chase has won some races this year, and it took him, a little bit of time to get to that point. So I think that it helps me understand what that takes and the things that, even his driving style, how he drives, and we have a chance to look at all the information there. So I think that stuff is helpful for me, and being closer to the same age, it helps us get to know each other and also compete on the racetrack.
Now let's look forward to next season, because I know you're excited about it. You have a guy who may be one of the best in the business. Chad Canals is coming over to be your crew chief. How excited are you for that green flag to drop in the Daytona 500 2019?
Yeah, I'm super pumped. He's already kind of established a good culture within our team for next year. He's really a motivational kind of guy. He's going to get people to work hard, and that's what I like. I think he's going to establish the right culture within our team, and hopefully that is winning races. So I'm looking forward to that. There's a lot of work to be done, but hopefully he'll help with a lot of the transition.
So Sunoco Rookie of the Year, we can check that box. Next season, personal goals. Walk me through. Give me 2 of them. I know a win is one.
Yeah. So our goals are, I feel like, realistic for next year. We want to win a pole and we want to win a race, and so if we can do those 2 things to start off, that would be a good goal for us. And then we've got some bigger goals after that. But you got to check those off the list first, and hopefully we can get those accomplished.
I know it's a busy time of year right now, so I appreciate you being here. And good luck next season.
Thank you.
America, land that I love, stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, through the oceans wide with foam.
Lost a legend with the passing of NASCAR Hall of Famer David Pearson. Known as one of the greatest drivers of the sport has ever seen, Pearson was a 3-time Premier Series champion and still ranks second on the all-time wins list with 105 victories. At this time, we ask that you join us for a moment of silence to honor the memory of the Silver Fox, David Pearson.
It's NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series racing on NBC. The Ford EcoBoost 400 from Homestead-Miami Speedway. And not everything goes as scripted. When you come to a racetrack, which is a little windy, and you have some things happening, like skydivers that were supposed to land in the grass and maybe got caught up on the fence.
It's one of the many reasons I don't jump out of airplanes, Rick. Wow.
So they're cleaning that up.
Last start for RCR. He'll be driving a Roush Fenway Ford next year.
Be his final start as well.
Yeah, Darrell Wallace Jr. and Michael McDowell back in row 12. So much hope for the year of the 43. Had that great run back in Daytona, Rick, and just kind of not been as good as they wanted. Hopefully you end the year on a good note.
And that's the thing that everyone on this grid and on this racetrack are thinking about. They want to end this season on a high note. This 2018 season comes down to this race, this final 400 miles that are in front of them, and everyone wants to go away from this race with good momentum.
Yeah, I mean, there's 4 drivers that without a doubt championship are on their mind, but so many stories up and down pit road, drivers, crew chiefs, crew members that are either moving on next year or maybe don't know what next year holds. You always want to end the year with the right foot forward.
Yeah, teams closing down. Obviously, the biggest one that we have talked about all season long, the 78 team, Furniture Row Racing. This is it for Barney Visser and that team. This will be their final race as a race team, and Martin Truex Jr. will try to give him his second championship. And if you're wondering where these cool shots are coming from, well, it's from Ford and the camera car company Pursuit Systems. They have used the new 2019 Ford Edge ST to create a camera car. It actually films high-speed chase scenes and other really hard to capture action footage. So we've been lucky enough to have access to that Ford Edge and the Pursuit car. Great vantage point. Remember, they're traveling along right now at over 50 miles an hour around this track, and it looks almost, well, lethargic when they're going to be going nearly 200 miles an hour here in a very short amount of time. I want to take a close look at our championship for
the win again this year.
And on Friday and Saturday, a story developed about Pitts. Tease the fact that the 48 driven by Jimmy Johnson and crew chief by Chad Knaus, the entire time it's been a part of the Cup Series with Lowe's as the sponsor. This will be the final race for that pairing. Chad Knaus and Jimmy Johnson really have very few peers that have been able to do what they have done. 17 seasons together and 81 Cup Series wins, 16 consecutive winning seasons. Now that is on the line today. They still have not won in 2018, but 11 Crown Jewel wins, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, that's how people are measured. That's how you become a Hall of Famer, winning the biggest races and winning championships. That's what we're here about today. Well, how about this? This duo has won 7 championships together. I've been fortunate enough in my entire career, guys, to be a teammate to Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus. They set the bar not only for the entire sport, but without a doubt, sharing an office next to Chad Knaus made me a better crew chief. I'm not sure if we will ever see a pairing as dominant as these two.
Yeah, I couldn't wait to have the opportunity to work alongside these guys and learn what made them champions, how they had a culture that was all their own. So successful over the years, and here you see the team spending time together this morning to celebrate this last race together. Congratulations from Tony Stewart, a guy who knows all too well what these guys have been through over the years.
So much respect for what these guys have done, really the way they've done it. They've worked hard. Jimmy Johnson's been a clean race car driver. Just so much respect from the people that are in the garage now, but also people like Richard Petty. You hear him talk about Jimmy Johnson, how great of a driver he is, and they've left a mark that'll be hard to ever be matched again.
And remember, Chad Knaus, neither are leaving. They'll both be back in 2019. Chad Knaus is going to crew chief for William Byron, and Kevin Meendering will be the crew chief for Jimmy Johnson for 2019.
Have him migrate up there. He said, migrate? He said, we're going to live on the High Line. So, fellas, I got some South Florida real estate for you up high. Problem is, it's only a car width wide.
And Larson right now running in the 3rd spot. He's 5.3 seconds behind Harvick, who is being chased by the 8th.
We keep talking about running up against the wall. A few laps ago, William Byron trying it up right against the wall. You see, got loose, a little bit of contact.